Hey everybody, Steve Burns here. Hey, Michael had a question concerning 3D. In fact, Michael sent this image to us to share what he's been doing with 3D. Love the concept, Michael, and I love the idea that you decided to go with something simple to learn the program. Oftentimes people will start off with something a little bit too complicated, but I love this very simple concept of the block toy car. Great job. And also you have the letters which represents the or some of the textures that you have on the card. All right, so here is his question. Doing some work in 3D but stumped about some things. What are boundary and internal constraints? What do they do? I also found a flyout tab that has vertices. In some programs, they're able to be manipulated. Are these able to be manipulated? If so, how? Been trying to figure it out, but no luck so far. Self-taught in all this, by the way, no past background in this, just from what I've heard. Thank you, Michael. Okay, Michael. Let's go ahead and address your questions. Now I have a texture here, just a standard texture. I'm going to go to the layers so you can see exactly what I have. Just a simple texture I created. And when we're working with 3Ds, we're going to be working quite a bit with this 3D panel. This is where you're going to pretty much spend most of your time in. Now I can do a mesh from preset, but what I'm going to do instead is do a 3D extrusion from this texture. Go ahead and target create, and it's going to extrude out our object. Okay, so let's go ahead and just pull this down a little bit so we can see the entire space. And we're also going to hit the V key in Victor to activate our move tool. Once that's activated, we have our rotation tool and we're in the camera rotation mode. Now I'm going to actually pull this back a little bit. Go to the Z, go ahead and hit my slide tool, which will move my objects around the Z depth. Let's go ahead and target the rotational tool, and now we can see our entire 3D object. We still have one in the back. Let's go ahead and turn that one in the back off so that it's easier for us to track this. There we are. All right, let's go ahead and target the top. Now, let's go to our 3D panel. One of the first questions was basically, what are 3D constraints? And the second question is, what are these vertices? Let's tackle the vertices question first. So if you look over here under your Scene tab, you're going to see an option for surfaces, lines, and points. If I target the points, you're going to get some options. Okay, we turn on the points, get some options coming up. Well, how do you want to see the vertices? Well, black is kind of difficult, so let's go over here and give it more of a deep reddish color and target OK. Now I still can't see the points. Well, let's actually change the radius. Pull them up a little higher. There they are. Okay, so we're still in the rotation, so we can move this around to see the vertices that actually make up this, this shape. Now we have each vertice on the corners, which is expected, but we have one in the center too. Well, let's check out the lines, target the lines, and if we actually zoom in a little bit closer, you can see that this isn't really a flat rectangular surface. This is actually divided up into triangles. Okay, 3-point polygons. So I'm going to pull this back. And how about this? Lines targeted. Let's go ahead and let's give them blue. A nice rich blue. There they are. Now you're seeing the edges of the polygons. If I want to increase the width of this. Now, what are these doing? All this is doing, Michael, is allowing you to see how your object is made up in terms of the individual polygons and points a lot more easier. Can you manipulate these points and edges? Not yet. It would be really nice if we could, but we don't have that ability as of yet. So once again, all this is doing is just giving you the ability to see exactly how your 3D object is created in the form of its vertices and its surfaces. All right, now let's answer your original question. Your first question is boundary constraints. Okay, let's go over and uncheck these. And let's target Actually, let's go ahead and get a little selection tool. And I'm going to just make any shape that I like as a selection on this object. If you look right up here in your 3D menu, we're going to look underneath the 3D object. So we have our camera, we have our lights, we have our 3D object. Under the 3D object, we have what's called boundary constraints. Now, if we target the boundary constraint, we have add selection to surface. Let's go for it. Click it, target it. We've just added this shape to the surface of our polygon, our rectangular shape. Now, let's go ahead and turn off the selection. Hit Command or Control D for deselect. And target the, now if you look right down here, we have a new constraint that's been conformed. If we look right under the properties, because all of our 3D objects have their own properties, type is active, we know that. Let's go see it. Well, let's create a hole from this shape. Target the hole. There it is. So this is a way to create booleans into your 3D object. We don't have booleans as a command. I'm going to hit the move tool. We don't have booleans as a command. So what we do have is a way to use selections to create tunneled or boolean shapes from our 3D objects. And keep in mind that we can also bevel this surface over here. If we go ahead and let's go ahead and the inflation material, that's what this is called. Make sure the 3D object itself is targeted. Right over here, select our bevel options, and we can create bevels from this shape. So hopefully this gives you a better idea as to what the constraints are, or internal constraints are, and what really the vertices and the lines do in the 3D program, or 3D aspects of Photoshop here. Let's go ahead and rotate our camera, and of course we can target our object itself and rotate the object independently so that you can see exactly what's going on. If we go around the back, you notice I didn't add a bevel to the back. We can do it in both areas, but I just added it to the front inflation. Okay, Michael, so hopefully that answers your question, and hopefully this has been a little educational for everybody else. And I'm going to make it a habit of answering questions through video tutorials. I'm going to place them on the pinned post on the Photoshop users site on the Facebook page, okay? In addition, be sure to go to my homepage, chromeillusion.com. On the front of the page, I have a couple of brand new tutorials, free tutorials right over here. If you click on that, and you're going to see a whole series of beginning, intermediate, advanced tutorials, all video tutorials, free for you to watch. And please go back to the home page and definitely check out those two new tutorials, as well as the new DVDs that are coming up. Definitely check out the interview here. Also, be sure to also check out the California Photo Festival coming up the 7th to 11th. I will be there for the entire week, giving some creative instructions in Photoshop and photography. Stephen Burns is signing off. Looking forward to sharing with you again. Enjoy.